Hi everyone, I'm Ava, and today I'm going to tell you about 4 weird Dutch things that actually kind of make sense once I explain them to you. But before I tell you about these 4 weird Dutch things, a little about myself. I first fell in love with the Netherlands 4 years ago when I visited my Dutch girlfriend in Amsterdam. We were living in the US at the time, and about a year ago, I moved to the Netherlands and I call this tiny little country my home now. So, without further ado, thing number 1, wishing friends and family a happy birthday when it's not their birthday. That's right, Dutch people do this thing where you wish the person whose birthday it is, known as, I think my girlfriend told me it was Jarige Job, person whose birthday it is. You wish their friends and family a happy birthday as well. So if you're at a party, then it's really normal to go up to everybody at that party and say, happy birthday, congratulations, which is gefeliciteerd in Dutch. Really difficult to say, I know. Why Dutch? Why? But yes, so you Dutch folk, you like to do this thing where you wish, someone's friends a happy birthday, or the partner of the person whose birthday it is a happy birthday. And yeah, when you think about it though, it makes a little sense when you think about the parents, because they actually did the work. It seems pretty fair to kind of go up to them and say, hey, congratulations, nice work. I like your offspring. That was another really bad joke. Well, so yeah, that was thing number 1. And after number 1 comes number 2, which is the Dutch like to freeze their bread. Yeah. Now, I know in the US we have terrible bread. That's where I'm from. In the US, we have terrible, terrible bread. It is filled with sugar, and I don't even know what like high fructose corn syrup for sure. That stuff's even illegal in the Netherlands. Well, we have that. And yeah, our bread is terrible. So the bread in the Netherlands is amazing. It was definitely pretty high on my list of the reasons to move, and I eat bread every day. I love Dutch bread. But when we buy our bread, my girlfriend told me that we should take our beautiful, fresh bread, and put it in the freezer. Yeah, that was my reaction when she first told me. Yeah, I was completely dumbfounded. But again, with all things, they sometimes make sense. So I asked her about it, and she was like, well, then it unfreezes and it's pretty fresh. And I thought, well, yeah, that makes sense. But it's not as fresh as it was if you didn't put it in the freezer. It still kind of tastes a little weird. It's still pretty delicious. But, it was something I had to get used to. It wasn't a culture shock. I wasn't like, oh my God, what are you doing to this bread? But I was definitely a bit confused. Clearly. So confused I'm making a video about it. So yes, that was thing number 2. And now thing number 3. When you walk into a Dutch store, maybe in the US we would say hello. Not really. But okay, you walk into a Dutch store and you might say hello. But here's the thing that I thought was actually really weird. So I would leave a store or a cafe, and then people from like way back there behind the bar would, just yell doei, which is goodbye in Dutch. Like, so doei, doeg. And it's always one pitch higher, one tone higher. It's pretty strange. Like even grown men, they're like, hello, how are you? Doei! It's very strange. But no, so, they like to say goodbye when you leave a store. Now, as someone from New York, I am from New York City. This is, hey, what are you doing? So, you Dutch people always tell me that Americans are so superficial or so rude because we like to say, how are you? And, we're not actually asking you how you're doing. We're just saying hello. Okay, fine. I get it. It's pretty strange. But when I'm in New York at a store, I'll maybe, buy my coffee at a deli. The person at the register will, just be doing their thing and they won't even look at you and just say, "How are you? What can I get you?" And they're just doing their thing. That's what I'm used to. So imagine my surprise when I come to the Netherlands and, people are saying goodbye to me leaving the store. I think for the first 3 months, I like just stared at them. It's like, did I forget something? Like, did I forget to pay? Is that why you're yelling things at me? So it was definitely something I had to get used to. But again, like I said, it makes sense because it's kind of nice, you want the person to maybe come back when someone leaves a room. It's nice to say goodbye to show that, you acknowledge that they were there in the first place. It makes sense. I had to get used to it. I'm from New York. I'm still not used to it. That's gonna take a while. And speaking of things I'm not used to, number 4, jumping on the back of bicycles. I'm laughing because you know what? I'm still not used to the Dutch bikes. Those Oma fiets where you kind of bike like this and they're huge. I'm used to my tiny, flimsy American bikes that can just blow away with the wind. But jumping on the back of bicycles, that is truly you Dutch people taking your bicycle skills and, to a whole other level. So what I mean by this is, at least growing up I grew up in both in India and in New York. In both of these places, you would just kind of plop yourself at the back of someone's bike and, off you go. Not here. Here it is a true test of how athletic you are. So a Dutch person will start biking, and if you want to get on the back of their bike, you need to run and jump. You need to jump and get yourself on the back of their bike. If you don't, that's on you. They're going to keep going. Yep, that's it. You need to run and get on the back of their bikes. So when I first visited 4 years ago in Amsterdam, I was really, first of all, not used to sitting at the back of someone's bike. I might have done that when I was like 3 or 4. I was so not used to it. So, but I tried, I did the whole running thing. I wanted to be very Dutch because I like to do, when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. So I was like, Dutch people do this. I'm gonna experience it. So I ran and jumped on that bicycle. It was not very comfortable for my girlfriend, who was very wobbly every time I would do it because I was so terrible at it. Still am very, very terrible at it. But I would even get into trouble because, when you're sitting on it, you also, when you stop at a traffic light, you need to get off the back of the bike as well. You can't just stay on there. I think this might make sense to people who are familiar with bikes. I'm extremely, extremely inexperienced and a very clumsy, awkward person. So that first trip when I was at the back of my girlfriend's bike, at some point she gets off, assuming I would too. But nope, I was just sitting there at the back of the bike and in slow motion just fall to the ground somewhere in the pipe with all the Dutch people watching me thinking I'm some mega idiot, which, to be fair, I was. So, okay, all this said, why do Dutch people do this? Is it because they just want to show off? I think so. Maybe a little bit. Come on. But really, what I've learned is that it's just easier for the person biking if, you run and get yourself on the bike. They're doing you a favor by dragging you through the city while you're at the back of their bike like a sack of potatoes. So, you need to put some effort into it. Anyway, those were my 4 weird things that Dutch people do that are not so weird when you think about it. If you have any more weird things, let me know in the comments.